It's obviously emotionally it's quite tough to have your father who's in his 70s in prison, and by choosing to stand up for democracy, for the free press, and to stay in Hong Kong to protect his journalists, he also decided not to spend that time with us inadvertently. But you know, I always go back and forth. But no matter how I think about it, I'm incredibly proud of him and proud of what he's doing. You know, he's been campaigning for democracy for the last 30 years, and had plenty of opportunity to leave. So taking that stance was obviously a very hard thing to do, but it's something that I'm incredibly proud of.
I can imagine. He does, though, face an uphill battle, doesn't he, when we consider the cases that have gone before. Do you have any expectation that he'll get a free and fair trial?
He is not going to get a free and fair trial, unfortunately, with the current political situation in Hong Kong. I'll give you an example. So my father has been in prison for the last 3 years. One of the charges that he was charged for was for going to Tiananmen Square vigil to commemorate the Tiananmen Square massacre of 1989, where students were rolled over by tanks in Tiananmen Square. He lit a candle and said a prayer for the pro-democracy campaigners who died, who were massacred, and for that he got more than a year in a maximum security prison in solitary confinement. And he's had a series of these incredibly politically motivated charges. The current trial that he's facing is a national security law trial with a maximum sentence of life in prison. But at his age, even if he gets 10 years, it's practically the same. There's 3 government-appointed judges, there's no jury, and the chief of security of Hong Kong hinted at his guilt even before the start of the trial. Yeah. So, fearful odds.
Yeah. You've raised the issue of foreign judges that remain on Hong Kong courts. We saw one resign and leave Hong Kong. Do you think others should follow suit as a protest against what has happened to the judicial system?
I think many of the judges believe that by staying there, they can help the Hong Kong legal system. But so it's important to look at what's happened in the last 4 or 5 years. Hong Kong went from having dozens of political prisoners to now where they have 1,800. Meanwhile, the foreign judges have been sitting on our court and haven't really been able to help these people who are in prison for protesting for democracy. So we are in a situation where these judges, their reputation are now a victim of what the Hong Kong government is doing to its people, and I believe that if it's in a situation like this where people are getting jailed for being journalists, like my father and his colleagues, or even for getting arrested for liking pro-democracy social media posts, that a judge from a democratic country has to decide whether these are values of a system that they align with. And I think you'll find that most judges will not align with these values.
Yeah. The Australian Prime Minister and the government has tried to reset relations with China. What sort of hearing did you get from the Foreign Minister, Penny Wong, and what sort of support are you hoping for from the government?
So we've been incredibly moved by all the support that we've received. And it's really been bipartisan, meeting multiple senators, representatives. I met with Penny Wong yesterday. And so we've been incredibly grateful for the moral clarity that Australia has shown on my father's case. I think Hong Kong going back to becoming a place, a freer place, is not only beneficial for the people of Hong Kong, but it's beneficial for both the free world, but also China, because it's a place where you have the freedoms of liberal democracies, some of the freedoms of liberal democracies, while belonging to China. So it was a place where these two value systems could mix and speak to one another. Unfortunately, that's no longer the case.
I wonder how a case like Julian Assange's resonates with you back in Australia after such a long time. Do you think it offers hope potentially that governments might be able to offer some persuasion to get an outcome here?
I was incredibly moved by the video of him, hugging his wife on the tarmac, and it really did make me miss my father a lot, and hope for a day when our family is reunited. I think my father's case is a much more straightforward in the sense where he's been campaigning for democracy in Hong Kong for the last 30 years, and the Hong Kong government used the legal system as a hammer to arrest him and his colleagues. They sent 500 people to raid his newspaper, which was the biggest in the region. It does give me hope, and I've been incredibly grateful for the support that we've been getting from all sides of the bench, and it actually hasn't felt like a political issue, but it felt like an issue of the free world versus Hong Kong, which is now very much autocratic.
Yeah, I think many across the globe look at your father's case as just that. We wish you all the best in continuing to sort of try and draw attention to it. Thanks so much for your time, Sebastien.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for shining a light on what's happening to my father.